1, 2, 3, mic check. Seth, did you already white balance? Okay. Mic check. 1, 2, 3, mic check. Yeah. Two, three. Mic check, testing. Everybody good? Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Are you good? Okay.
apologize for a couple of minute delay here. You would think it's Buffalo, New York, but it is in fact Louisville, Kentucky. And that is where we will start, which we've been talking about a lot recently with our weekly updates, and that is our weather. So first, I want to talk a little bit about what our teams are doing to help others around the state. In eastern Kentucky, as I mentioned yesterday, we have teams from emergency management services and Louisville Fire Department and other suburban fire departments that have gone elsewhere in the state to help out. Jody Myman, who's our Director of Emergency Management Services, he has moved his location to London, Kentucky, where he is helping out, headquartered there today, helping to assess the damages and then help with services throughout that entire region. So a special thanks to all of our first responders who are helping our friends all across the state who are in need as well. Here at home, let's talk a little bit first about the snow. The snowfall is coming down right now as we speak. Our snow team is out on the roads right now. They were deployed earlier this morning and began treating all of our 110 snow routes with a salt and calcium chloride mix. And calcium chloride is added to the traditional salt that we use on our roads when temperatures drop to 25 degrees or lower to ensure that the treatment works at the lower temperatures that we're experiencing right now. They'll continue working around the clock for the duration of the snow event that we're expecting to continue today, this evening, and into tomorrow. Right now, the latest from the National Weather Service as of this morning is that we're expecting about 1 to 3 inches of snow starting again this evening into tomorrow morning. So just want to encourage everyone to, again, use caution, whether you're driving around the city today or this evening, tomorrow, as we continue to get more snow. But our snow team will continue to be out there working to ensure the roads are safe, and we'll continue to keep you updated on that as well. The other impact from weather that we're having, in addition to snow throughout the city, still relates to floods and water. And now we've turned our attention to the Ohio River. The flash flooding that we experienced on Saturday evening has, for the most part, receded, but the Ohio River, which usually lags a few days, is continuing to rise. Right now, the Ohio River is at 25 feet, which is just above flood stage. So we're experiencing some flooding in certain low-lying areas along River Road. The 3rd Street ramp on I-64 remains closed, as does River Road underneath I-64. That is also closed as well right now. 2 parks are currently closed that are also along River Road, Cox's Park and even Banwin Park. Those remain closed due to Ohio River flooding. And according to the National Weather Service, we expect the Ohio River to crest at about 3 or 4 feet higher than its current stage sometime by Friday, and then it will begin to recede. So we expect to have the elevated levels of the Ohio River with us for the duration of this week. Right now, we don't expect any other significant closures along River Road. Of course, that might change if the river rises even higher than we're currently expecting. And finally, with respect to the river, MSD is closing the flood wall at 10th Street and at 27th Street in Portland today. They'll be on standby in case they need to do any additional work, but right now that's the one area that MSD is doing with the flood wall, is in Portland at 10th Street and at 27th Street. So there is a lot going on around the city as a result of the impact of the weather. We are on top of it, and of course there's a lot that we continue to do beyond the weather every day at Louisville Metro government as well. And so that's where I'm going to begin right now, is one of those areas that we continue to work on regardless of the weather, whether it's cold or whether it's warm. We continue to work to reduce the amount of homelessness in our community. And we have got a great team of people that is working every day in our homeless service division and so many other departments of Louisville Metro government that are working in collaboration to provide more services and shelter to individuals in need. A few weeks ago at my State of the Union address, I mentioned this. I reflected on the fact that 2 years ago, when I first became mayor, we had an urgent problem that was getting worse. Encampments were creating dangerous situations. Dangerous for the people who were living on our streets and dangerous for the people who were using our sidewalks. At that time, 2 years ago, we were headed in the wrong direction. So our team took action. We provided more outreach, support, services, and shelter for people who needed help the most, and we removed these camps. We've also added outreach staff to strengthen our homeless services team. Last week, we saved an individual's lives, our team did, that was struggling with an overdose addiction. In January, we saved more people during the extreme cold weather thanks to the work of our homeless service team who was out on the streets every day helping individuals who were in crisis, who were in need. We're also working hard to get the community care campus fully up and operational and complete. The goal of the community care campus is to better serve families and young adults who are experiencing homelessness, along with people who need medical assistance and medical respite. The community care campus will be fully open in 2027. But we know that we could not wait that long. And because no child should have to sleep on our streets in Louisville, Kentucky on any night, in partnership with Volunteers of America and PNC Bank and others, we worked to open an emergency family shelter last November. And since then, the number of families who are on the nightly waiting list seeking shelter has decreased significantly. And on some nights here in Louisville, that number is 0. That is positive momentum that we're seeing in this area as we work to reduce the amount of homelessness to help people who are in need on our community. And even more positive momentum that we're seeing in the community is reflected in some of the statistics. One of the ways that we measure the impact of our work to reduce homelessness is by tracking the number of calls that we get to Metro 311 that relate to homelessness. And I'm proud to say that in the 2 years since I've been mayor, the number of encampment calls that we have received on our Metro 311 line has been decreased by 77%. 77% fewer calls year to date in 2025 than we received for the same time period in 2023. We're receiving fewer reports of encampments around our community, fewer reports of people who are in distress and are in crisis, who we need to help. That's momentum. That's heading in the right direction for our city. Now, of course, even with this great positive momentum, there is still a lot of work to do. And so we're not stopping. We're moving forward, continuing to do more to help individuals who are in need. And we're going to build on this momentum as we continue to move forward. And so today, I'm pleased to announce that next week we'll be introducing legislation in Metro Council to provide even more support that is impacting individuals, some of whom end up being homeless. I'm proposing that the city use a portion of our opioid settlement funds for several different purposes. We've been the recipient of these funds for a couple of years now, and we've followed the principles from Johns Hopkins University as we have focused these investments to prevent addiction, to help people who are addicted end their addiction, and to prevent people from getting addicted in the first place. We have used our funding to save lives, for treatment, and for prevention. And so we are proposing 3 more uses for the next tranche of opioid settlement funds that we are getting. First, we're going to propose to use some of the money for behavioral assessments for those with a Casey's Law petition. That is when family and friends apply for a Casey's Law petition for a loved one who's in need of court-mandated drug treatment. Second, we're proposing to invest in prevention services for our youth. This includes education, counseling, peer support, nursing, after-school care, and more to help students not get addicted to any substances in the first place. What better way to end our addiction epidemic than to stop addiction from occurring in the first place? And third, behavioral health treatment for those who are charged with unlawful camping and who are candidates for diversion. So we're proposing that the city use some of these opioid settlement funds, third, to establish a diversion program in district court. This program will be focused on working with individuals who've been cited or arrested for unlawful camping. The goal will be to give them an option beside jail time or fines. Similar to other types of diversion programs that we have, we want to help people who are in this position get connected with resources that can help get them off of the streets, get medical or other treatment, get housing or more, so that they're no longer homeless and they are on a different path in life, a better path in life. I look forward to working with my colleagues on Metro Council over the coming weeks to establish this diversion program and to make these other important investments to prevent addiction from continuing to plague our city. It will help individuals who are in crisis, it will prevent individuals from coming in crisis, and it will continue to help reduce the amount of people who find themselves homeless in our city. I'm proud of the work that we're doing. And I know that when we're talking about programs and statistics that are related to homelessness, it can get abstract, it can get confusing, it can sound like it's just numbers. But those of us who are doing this work every day, we always remember that each one of these calls, each one of these numbers, each one of these people that we help is a person, is a neighbor, somebody who's struggling, that we can offer them their help. And as we do this work, it's important for us to hear from people who've experienced homelessness and who can help us understand what's needed to help others who have been in their shoes. So I'd like to introduce someone today who's uniquely qualified to do just that. Farrah Burleson is an incredible example of resilience and of the value of never giving up and never losing hope. These days, she works at Goodwill and dedicates herself to helping others get off the streets and into permanent housing. Farrah, will you please join us today and share a few words? Please welcome Farrah Burleson. Thanks, Farrah. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Hello. Good morning. My name is Farrah Burleson, and I'm a career coach and navigator with the Goodwill program for homeless initiatives. I'm a little nervous, you guys.
Always great up here.
In this position, I have been gifted the opportunity to give back to my community and help those individuals struggling with multiple barriers that are keeping them away from a successful and fulfilling life in the great city of Louisville, Kentucky. It is an honor and it's a privilege to work alongside Mayor Greenberg, Deputy Mayor Ms. Nicole George, and Ms. Sharon Allgaier, who is the visionary force for the Another Way program. It is because of the support from these partners that I can do an effective job assisting and helping remove barriers for people that are in need. What became a pilot program in 2021 with Ms. Sharon Allgaier has grown into a vital resource for our community. Another Way has served more than 4,000 unique individuals, connecting 2,791 of those individuals to self-sufficiency resources, transported 278 individuals to substance abuse and mental health treatment with other local partners. We've placed 572 people in temporary to permanent housing and assisted 361 individuals secure full-time employment. These are just a few of the benefits of working with Goodwill's Another Way program. I know these benefits firsthand because in the winter of 2021, I was one of these many unhoused individuals. I was broken, I was homeless, I was mentally unstable, and I was fiercely dependent on substances to get me through the traumas of being homeless. I was a them. It was on an extremely chilly day when the temperatures dropped well below the freezing point when I encountered my very first outreach specialist. She was kind to me. She offered hope to me. And in the twinkling of her eye, I believed there had to be a better way, another way to do this thing called life. She gave me a smile, shared some kindness, and planted a seed of goodwill into my heart. It stuck, and it changed the trajectory of my life. After some time, that seed began to grow, and it gnawed at me until I could no longer deny the sound of her voice in my head and in my heart. Get down to Goodwill. I have a job for you. I knew at that point it was time for me to finish with the madness. I knew this because someone took their time to come out to the street and outreach me. She spoke life into me that day. The outreach that took place built a fire inside of me that it had died. My fire, my spirit had died over my years of trauma. She saw things inside of me that I couldn't see in myself. She saw the real me. In the depths of my despair and the invisibility of my homelessness, someone actually saw me. As wonderful as it was to finally be seen, this epiphany required some action from me. I had to trust someone else's vision because mine was clouded by fear. It was clouded by substances and the haze of addiction. My mental health was not strong, and the very stench of my own dead dreams. It was at this point in my transformation that another seed was planted for substance abuse treatment and mental health counseling. So I did a very, very brave thing. I asked for help. It was hard. It wasn't easy. I had to trust others. I had to be vulnerable. I had to be brave. I had to allow other people to get control, help me get control over my life. In the early months, my fight for survival as a sober individual was equally as hard as the decision to go to treatment. It was easily the most challenging thing I have ever decided to do. It was not rainbows and sunshine. There was no instant gratification. There was no prize to be won. It was dark. It was scary, and I wanted to give up many, many times. But for whatever reason, I just kept going. I'm not even sure why I kept going. I just did. I knew inside of myself that it was time, so I just kept going. When I think back over the last 3.5 years, I know that it is true what they say. You must take it one day at a time. First, you must ask for help. You must tune out the world around you, and you must focus on yourself and your healing, and that's exactly what I did. I'm so thankful that I did. Today, my life looks totally different, and truth be told, I do not miss that old version of me. In 3.5 short years, I have turned my entire life around for the better. I get to use my experience from the depths of my pain and my darkness to help individuals like me with empowerment. I assist them with removing the fear of the unknown and tackling barriers one day at a time, providing a much-needed encouragement along the way. It is because of the support from Mayor Greenberg, Metro City Council, and the Goodwill that programs like The Another Way have been able to reach so many people in crisis and find their way out of darkness and into a place of hope. Thank you.
Thanks so much. You were awesome. You did great. Thank you so much, Farah. It's work like that and stories like that that keep all of us motivated every day to continuing to help others to make not just our entire city safer and stronger and healthier, but individuals who are in need of others healthier and stronger and give them a better path in life. So thank you for sharing your story, Farah. That continues to give us inspiration to help others. And you have been such an inspiration and such a help to others like that were in your shoes before you. Thank you so much. So one additional announcement today before we have a fun little celebration and recognition. If you drive almost anywhere outside of Jefferson County, pretty soon you notice that a gallon of gasoline is often cheaper in the surrounding areas than it is in Louisville. And one reason for that is because in the 1990s, US EPA determined that Louisville's air quality needed to improve. And one of the steps taken to facilitate that was requiring that Louisville gas stations only sell reformulated gas, or RFG. RFG is more expensive than traditional gasoline. Over time, since the 90s, our air has gotten significantly cleaner. That's thanks to innovation and improvements by industry, the work of multiple community organizations, and federal, state, and metro government programs, all working together over the past 20 years to make our city healthier and our air cleaner. This progress is expected to continue in the years ahead as well with the trajectory that we're on. Additionally, fuel improvements have greatly reduced the differences between reformulated gasoline and conventional gasoline over the years as well. So last week, in partnership with the Air Pollution Control Board, Director Rachel Hamilton, I sent a letter to Governor Beshear and to the Environmental Protection Agency asking that the reformulated gas requirement be lifted for Louisville, Jefferson County. Governor Beshear has since sent that petition and sent his own letter to the US EPA to initiate the opt-out process for Louisville, Jefferson County. Governor Beshear and I stand with many state legislators here in Jefferson County who all agree and support this effort to end RFG in Louisville, Jefferson County. I look forward to this request being granted by the federal government in the near future, and once it takes effect, it will be a sign of the progress that we have made to clean the air here in our city, and it will also reduce gas prices in our city, two things that are cause for celebration. That will mean meaningful savings for people all across the city to put money back in the pockets of Louisville families all across Louisville, Jefferson County. We are excited to receive positive news from the federal government in the coming months, and we'll keep you updated on our effort to end the RFG designation here in Louisville. Now, finally, before we take questions, if I could ask Councilwoman Mulvey-Woldridge to join me as well. We have a special honor, proclamation, and celebration today. She is being joined up here, come on, Sheriff, by Sheriff Aubrey, who was recently named the 2025 National Sheriff of the Year by the National Sheriff's Association. So it's my honor to introduce Councilwoman Mulvey-Woldridge, who's going to talk a little bit more about the sheriff's career and his great accomplishment and recognition.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Greenberg. Good morning. It is an honor to stand here before you today as we celebrate someone who has exemplified the true meaning of dedication, leadership, and service to our community. Each year, the National Sheriff's Association recognizes a sheriff who has gone above and beyond in the role in fostering trust, inspiring their team, and making a lasting positive impact. It is no small task to wear the badge of honor while leading with integrity, courage, and compassion. This year's 2025 Ferris E. Lucas Sheriff of the Year recipient is our very own Jefferson County Sheriff John Aubrey. I have had the honor and pleasure of knowing Sheriff Aubrey for many years. Sheriff Aubrey has led the department with unwavering commitment, ensuring the safety of all the citizens while championing initiatives that strengthen relationships, whether it's through enhancing department's training, innovative community programs, or creating a safer environment for all. Sheriff Aubrey has raised the bar of what it means to serve. Let us recognize the dedication required to achieve such excellence. Sheriff Aubrey's work is not just a job, it's a calling, and he has answered that call with exceptional resolve and grace. It is my privilege, along with Mayor Greenberg, to present the proclamation officially recognizing Sheriff Aubrey as the 2025 National Sheriff of the Year. Before I present it, I want to read it. Whereas Sheriff Aubrey of Jefferson County, Kentucky, has been selected as the recipient of the 2025 National Sheriff's Association Ferris E. Lucas Sheriff of the Year Award, recognizing his outstanding contributions to law enforcement and public service. And whereas Sheriff Aubrey has dedicated over 55 years of public service, including a distinguished career as a retired colonel in the U.S. Army, former Chief of Police with Louisville Police Department, and current Sheriff of Jefferson County, and now serving in his 7th term. And whereas, under his leadership, the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office became the first Kentucky to achieve accreditation, maintaining this prestigious status every 4 years, and setting a standard of excellence in law enforcement. And whereas, Sheriff Aubrey's commitment to justice and community safety is further exemplified through his past service as president of both National Sheriff Association and the Kentucky Sheriff Association, as well as his historic tenure as the longest-serving sheriff in Kentucky's history. And whereas both his law enforcement achievements, Sheriff Aubrey has demonstrated his dedication to charitable causes and chairman of the Knights of Columbus of Kentucky Derby Festival charity and dinner program, raising funds for over 20 different local charities. And whereas Sheriff Aubrey has consistently pursued professional development and leadership training, being graduate of the 85th class of National Sheriff's Institute, the 40th Administrative Officers course at the Southern Police Institute, the 96th class of the FBI National Academy, the 35th FBI National Executive Institute, and the U.S. Army Command and General Staff College. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the Louisville Mayor's Office and the Louisville Metro Council hereby confer and pay tribute to him by way of this proclamation, with all rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. In testimony, we have caused these letters to be made and seal the Metro Government to hereunto affixed. Done by the Commonwealth of Kentucky this 18th day of February 2025.
First couple of weeks, we were in Washington, D.C. for the National Sheriff's Association Winter Conference. And I had been blessed to go through the chairs in the NSA, having one time served as the president. I cannot tell you, I am not educated enough to articulate to you how I felt when they told me at the conference that I had been selected. I am rarely speechless, and my folks know that. But I told one colleague up there, when I get back to my office, I'm going to have a closed-door meeting with some of my staff, because they're supposed to keep me informed, and that didn't happen. But I truly am blessed. And I like to share two things, and especially with the law enforcement colleagues and anyone in a profession dealing with the community and dealing with people. Just treat people right. And we deal with bad people, but we still don't mistreat bad people. If they need to take a trip and have housing over at the jail, that's fine. You don't have to mistreat them. And the other thing that's been the key to my success is surrounding yourself with people who believe the philosophies that you do and who treat people the way you do. And I truly believe that is the key to whatever I've achieved in my lifetime. I thank you. I thank the mayor. The mayor was one of probably 10 or 11 that wrote, unbeknownst to me, nomination letters to the National Sheriff's Association nominating me. And you don't have to go look it up. There's 3,081 sheriffs. Now, they didn't go down that list to find me, and I'm not sure, but I attribute it a lot to the nominee letters that were written in my behalf. People like to say we're getting older and things like that. We're mature law enforcement officers with a lot of experience. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, take this also. Oh, yeah, thanks. Well, congratulations again, Sheriff. Incredibly well-deserved. Well, there's a lot going on around the city. We've just touched on a little bit with the remarks that we had today. But with that, I'm happy to answer questions about any of these topics or others that members of the media might have.
Legislation that you would like to propose to Metro Council, specifically the third one about the behavioral health treatment for unhoused individuals, is that a direct response to House Bill 5 as making some type of other option other than jail?
No, it's not a direct response. It certainly, is in line with House Bill 5, but we are working comprehensively on all sorts of efforts with these opioid settlement funds to provide treatment, to help save lives, and to also prevent people from becoming addicted in the first place. And so it works out really well that here are individuals who have either been arrested or cited, and we would prefer to give people a new path in life as opposed to jail, and this is one way that we can help do that.
What's the amount of the installment coming in, the next installment? How much are you going to use for these?
So this proposed allocation is about just over $2.6 million for all three of those initiatives combined, for the behavioral health assessment, for those with a Casey's Law petition, for the primary prevention for youth, and this diversion program in the court system. Those are annual, we get annual tranches from the settlement funds.
Americana World Community Center says that they could be closing their doors in 2 months because of federal funding that's not coming in. Does your administration plan to help places like that one and others who help migrants in the city?
Yeah, Americana is an incredibly important organization that has been around in our community for many years. In fact, I had my very first State of the City address at Americana. First time in Americana was over 20 years ago. My wife Rachel, who was an English as a second language student, and many of her families that she taught many years ago benefited from services from Americana. They are an important part of our community, and we are incredibly hopeful that they remain a part of our community. I know that the federal government's funding has impacted Americana here recently. I also want to thank Congressman McGarvey, who is working on these issues at the federal level to see what assistance he can provide with respect to some of the federal funding that Americana had been expecting to get. And so we're seeing if we can provide other advice or assistance to them as well. But we certainly want Americana to remain an important and strong part of this community for all the good work that they have done. Hold on one second.
There was a houseless death on Sunday night. Someone passed away from hypothermia, and so just with all the resources that we have to, help people, obviously sometimes people don't want to go into treatment. So how do you, try to help more people if they aren't wanting to go into a shelter?
So this is one of the many reasons why we have expanded our Homeless Services Division team. We have fully funded and fully staffed that division, and they are out on the streets literally every day seeking to help individuals and provide them with paths to services and shelter. And John and his team do an outstanding job. We go back to people time after time to continue to try to build a relationship and provide them with services and shelter, provide them with information. If we can only take small steps at a time, like helping them get an ID or introduce them to maybe a counselor, that is a good first step. There is space in this community for individuals who are in need. There are services in this community available for everyone in need. And so we are trying our best, and we will continue to support John and his team and the work that we're doing to prevent tragedies like happened on Sunday night.
Are you all planning on opening, that was kind of what I was going to ask, but in addition to that, are you all planning on opening any pop-up shelters over the next couple days, or having some more, space where when it's really cold and snowing that homeless people are able to go?
Yes, we're under white flag conditions right now. I'm going to let John Pilbeam give a little bit more detail on that. John? John is the director of our Homeless Service Division.
Good morning. So our warming centers are open now. We have Exodus Ministries out on Gars Lane. AOH Church of God is open, and they'll continue to be open through Friday at this point. We'll kind of relook at it at that point and see if we need to go through the weekend.
Out of that, and what makes this different?
So what makes this different is we think we are in attainment right now, that we are eligible for the RFG designation to be removed. And so in the past, when there were some efforts, as I understand it, this was before I was mayor, but also the Canadian wildfires impacted our air quality here. I believe Southern Indiana was released of their RFG designation, but we believe that we are going to be in compliance, and now is the time to acknowledge the improvement in our air quality and release that.
If it was approved?
Well, it's with the EPA right now. So I mentioned I started the process. The governor has continued that process. State legislators that represent Jefferson County are incredibly supportive of this. And so we are going to ask the EPA to move as quickly as they possibly can. I don't have a specific timeline for you, but the sooner the better in our opinion.
Are there any more plans to close any more of the flood walls in the coming days with the river coming up, or is it just going to be those ones over in Portland?
For right now, MSD is just focused on those two that I mentioned in Portland. Of course, if we expect the river is going to rise more than the additional 3 or 4 feet that I mentioned earlier, MSD is constantly evaluating that. But right now, they believe those are the only 2 that they're putting in for precautionary reasons.
Mentioned this morning the 2 people that had died from hypothermia here in the city. Do you know of any other hypothermia deaths, or do you have any message for people who are not going into shelter or anything to help out in that situation? I know you mentioned that some, but
The question was about the hypothermia deaths here in the city. I'm unaware of any others beyond those that you mentioned. our message is that we are here to help. We have shelters that are open. We have warming centers that are open in many different parts of the city. We have people who will come get you and take you to those shelters. We have people who are out there working on the streets every day to find individuals who are in need. We want to help. Please let us help you during these incredibly cold times. Anything else? All right. Thank you all very much. Have a good day. Stay warm.